Hello and welcome to a video that's been years in the making. We're going to go right back to the very first time trial for this demonstration, and don't worry about that car, we'll get to that later. Okay, so this video is about why driving with no assists is so beneficial, and also I'm going to give you some tips on how to do it, and I'm going to show you the difference between this run, which is a no assist run, and different levels of assists. Now this is actually an incredible run. This is a very, very good run, even though it looks like it might not be. Like, I did have over a 0.2 second advantage over my Ghost at a point, and you can see I've almost given it all the way back, but it's taken me many hours just to beat my prior time. And that last corner, that's a very hard corner. I mean, look at this. My Ghost is gaining on me, but we're gonna equalize here. It depends how you drive out of that corner. And I just want you to watch this time. So that puts me in very high up into Group A. Position 244 at the time of this video. That's out of over 10 million registered times. Now, let's look at that first place time. Obviously a hacker, and there's other hackers here, and I hate that, but let's move on from that. This is Dr. Frankenstein's car. It's a little bit scary, but nothing to be too intimidated by. This isn't the famous Dr. Frankenstein, this is his great-grandson who had his doctorate of engineering. He got a whole bunch of Nissan Silvias from the junkyard and brought this one to life.
It's alive!
If you want to know how to make a car like this, I'll give you a video at the end. Okay, for this first test, we're going to Tlit A controls, everything on high. And you really don't want to take any tires off track if you're going to drive with high assists, because it'll start braking even earlier. So, what's the number one problem with high assists? It puts on the brakes way too early and it keeps them on way too long. Like, just look how much I've lost already. And don't get those tires off track if you're going to use this. You're going to lose even more time because it will over brake. Worst braking distances in this game is 2 tires off track. Best braking distance is actually 4 tires off track. You can check this video in the card if you want to see the proof of that. Now, of course, you don't want to do that, but that's why you sometimes see people doing little tricks like that. So, steering assist high, brake assist high, traction control on. Yes, it doesn't get any worse than that. This is an absolutely atrocious time. I sometimes do this for time trials when I just don't care. You can just sit there and steer with one hand. So, this particular time is almost 20% slower than the time I put forth at the beginning of this video. So let's go to another test. We'll throw the assists down to low, keep traction control on, and keep controls on Tlit A for now. And on corner 1 here, if you have the wrong trajectory, you're gonna go flying way off track. Like here, I barely saved it. In fact, it took me 2-3 tries to pull that off without flying off track. Look at this. So, what's the number one problem with brake assist low? The brakes come on too late. And then that makes you think you need traction control, which you don't. But if you're going to brake that late, you do. What's traction control? It's just more brakes. That's all it is. It's not actually traction control in this game. Real life traction control is going to have one side of the car braking while the other side is braking less or not braking at all. That's not how traction control works in this game. Oh, do you see that? I had a little bit of a wiggle and traction control decided it needed to brake when it didn't need to do that. It can be frustrating. Now, since this is a really common controls option, I'm going to show you how you can get the car to go faster while still using it, all right? Watch this. Take 2 tires off track, okay? See that? I'm off track. Now, watch this. Far less sliding this time around. You see that? Okay, now right now, believe it or not, I'm fully on track. Now I'm off track, see? And again, it's not as bad. Oh, a little bit more. Trying to steer into it. We'll see how much time this saves me. Get off track again. Let's see, I'm off track. Brakes came on way earlier. Not as much skidding. For this corner here, you don't need to brake, but the game will often brake a little bit when you have that on. Here, I can't get 2 tires off track. So look at this. I'm supplementing it with a bit of my own braking. That's what that fireball sticker was to show you, is that I'm adding brakes. So how much time does this save me? We'll see soon. I know change is difficult because for my first 18 months in this game, I used Tlit A, brake assist low, steering assist high, and traction control on. Look at that. That saved me over 1.5 seconds. Now I want to show you something else. I'm going to take all the assists off, go to Tilt B controls, and I'm not going to use my brakes at all. Now just so you know, a key part of learning how to drive with no assists is trial and error. And right here, I'm going to make an error. So this happens a lot more than you guys know. Now this time around will be a good run. I get off the gas super early, and then I start feathering it a little bit to get control. And look, I'm almost catching my ghost already, but I got to get off really early. Oh, drifting a little bit, let it slide. Nuts. Should have been off even earlier. Okay, well, let's do better on this corner. Off nice and early. Back into the throttle. Oh, dangerously close to off track. You'll notice I was feathering the throttle. That means on again, off again, on again, off again, really fast. And then here, little bit of sliding, come on. But you notice, I did not touch the brakes once. Not one time for that entire lap did I touch the brakes. One thing I really want you to see is how beneficial it is to get back to the gas at the proper time. So that's why braking late is so bad. Look at that. I beat my Tilt A time without using any brakes and any assists. Okay, now let's go through detailed braking points. We're going back to everything's off. So I'm braking right about at that line. And then I lift it for a tiny bit, then I'm into the throttle. And really close, that's not off track. Watch the shaded section, I'm braking before it. And again, I'm gonna lift off the throttle a little bit. So I often do that. Depends on the track and the car. Now, as this just starts to steer to the left, that's when I'm gonna be on the brakes. Now you should be getting back to the gas at the apex of the corner. So about at the middle of the corner, you should be back on the gas. If you can't get on the gas that early, you were on the brakes too late. This here is a very difficult corner. It's a big parabolic shape, and those are tough to master. I have a different trajectory than my Ghost, and it's very interesting how the Ghost suddenly starts gaining on me in the same car. It's just because of a difference in trajectory. I'm going to rewind this, let it play one more time all the way through while I give you tips on how to go without assists. Step 1 is to use the setup you see on screen. Make sure you're using Tilt B controls and start braking earlier. Tilt B will give you more control than Tilt A because with Tilt A, you're either full gas or full brakes. With Tilt B, you can coast and that helps you regain control. Then you get back onto the throttle. Step 2, get rid of traction control. That will help you to realize when you've been braking too late in the corners, you could leave brake assist low kind of as a safety net. Step 3, totally get rid of those brakes. Wait until you're not sliding very much before you make that move. Step 4 is to totally get rid of that steering assist. Once you do that, go to your steering sensitivity and increase it by 3 notches. That will help to even out that gap. Lower steering sensitivities will give you better control in the corners, but I suggest you make that adjustment a little bit at a time. Only lower it by a maximum of 2 notches if you want to lower it at all. Both steering assist settings will make endless endurance racing a lot harder because they want you to stay on track, but sometimes you need to be off. Now, for everyday driving, you could leave steering assist low on, and I don't think it'll ever mess you up. Steering assist high can cause problems in some corners. Focus on learning one track at a time, because once you learn a track, you just need to make minor adjustments for other cars. Well, please like, please subscribe. Thank you for joining me today.